Good morning. This meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. This meeting is being held at the offices of the Louisiana Tax Commission at 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The date is Thursday, July 16th, 2020, and the time is 10:09 a.m. Please call the roll.
Chairman Shahardy,
Here.
Commissioner Wagaspat,
Here.
Commissioner Jeffers,
Here.
Commissioner Vercher,
Here.
Commissioner Wood. Here. 5 present under quorum.
Thank you. All right, we'll move right into our appeal docket this morning. The first appeal we'll hear this morning is the appeal of Christian Karcher versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-020. Which one? The one?
Mr. Archer is in the process of negotiating with the assessor's office for a settlement.
All right, well, I
If
just
you
called
can take,
item B.
Yeah, that's Mr. Archer. No, that's their,
Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to
Go to F.
withdraw that motion, and, all right, we're going to withdraw that, and we're going to move to item F on the agenda, the appeal of Joseph Johnson versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-118. I'll ask Mr. Johnson, I presume, to please stand and be sworn in as a witness. All right, give me one moment, Mr. Johnson, and we'll have you at the microphone. It is the Tax Commission's policy to accept all documents into the record that were timely pre-filed in accordance with the Commission's rules and regulations. This will be done at the conclusion of all hearings on today's docket. Accordingly, there is no need to formally offer or introduce the exhibits into the record during your appeal hearing. However, if you intend to object to the submission of any of the opposing parties' exhibits, you must notify the Commission at the start of your appeal hearing. As a reminder, this is an administrative hearing, and as such, the rules of evidence are relaxed. The Commission is inclined to review and consider all evidence submitted and to accept such evidence into the record. All right, this is a taxpayer appeal. Mr. Johnson, you're here. I'd ask you to please step up to the podium and tell us about your property.
Okay, the
And try to
properties,
talk close to the microphone so we can hear.
properties in question are 2 doubles that I inherited from my parents, and they've owned them for decades. And I have 2 kids in one, 2 kids, 1 kid in one kid in another, a storage, and then the other one is empty. And I've inspected all the homes around. I went online and looked at the assessor's tax documents for the houses that are around it, and many of them are much lower than mine, and like next to me is a 4-plex, and it's much lower than mine on a bigger lot. So I pulled up a lot of them and submitted that during our first meeting in New Orleans at a church, where you had to present the documents to the city, and whoever else was there, the company that was handling stuff for the city. So you should have all my documents and pictures. Right? And I'm just in question as to why this thing keeps going up, and it's never been sold. It's been in the family for decades. So I mean, what and it's not changed. Okay, so I don't know why they chose to do that, and others around me are not as much.
I don't have, Ms. Mello, we don't have any other
No, if
information from the property owner.
No, if you supplied it to the assessor's office, or, well, to the Board of Review, they don't forward that information to us. You have to supply it to us.
Well, I thought that all of that was official documents and they handled all that.
No, sir, they
Well, I didn't
don't.
know that. I mean, they didn't tell me that. I thought once you submit it, it's record.
No, sir, but in our letter, when you get your notice of hearing, it asks for you to submit your
I
documentation.
did, but I had already
just
submitted,
assumed-
so I didn't think I had to do it again.
Oh,
All right,
I thought you would already have it. I mean, these are all like 100-year-old homes, so, I mean, you can't do too much with them.
Do you
But-
know of any values, like you mentioned, the fourplex next door and a larger
The
lot?
land was so much cheaper than mine, and
What was the overall value?
I don't remember. I mean, but none of the houses around there are that great. I mean, they're all just original 1920 or whatever it is buildings. So, and property values go up, but not so substantially that warrants like $5,000 a year on one and $4,000 a year on another, or whatever. It's just unfair, I think. And the fact that the street's all broken up, the plumbing's backed up in the street, toilet stuff comes out in the front of the house where that round thing is, where it tries to go to the street. It's just, the city's a mess.
now, to make sure we're talking, you have two appeals with us this morning. I
One next
called-
door to the other.
Yeah, the one we're talking about right now is 625 North Murat Street, is that
Okay.
correct? That's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay, all right. We need to hear from the assessor's office, but I think the will of the commission is gonna be that we take this one under advisement. Is that what everybody's thinking?
Yeah, so we can get some equity
Get some more
data.
information, yeah. we
So
would-
am I to supply that, or is the tax people?
What's that?
Am I to supply the information?
Well, I'd like you to, whatever you gave to the Board of Review,
I haven't.
okay, if you can forward that to us
ha-
by email.
It could be done like that?
Yeah,
I
you
certainly
can forward
will.
it to us by
I
email.
certainly will, because it took a lot of time, a lot of
And-
research.
Yeah, and if you can
Sure.
do that today, when you get home.
I got to go back to New
No,
Orleans.
no, you go back home to your office. If you could do it today, that would be great.
I'm retired, so there's no more office.
Okay, but we'd like to hear from the assessor's office now.
Okay.
And we're going to hear your other appeal as soon as this one's up. Over. Yes?
Mr. Elmer is outside negotiating with the taxpayer.
No, we're going to,
Make sure we know which cases.
yeah,
you are.
okay. All
I
right,
don't think you've heard about
okay, all right.
it.
Mr. Alvarez, do you want to talk about, this is item F on the appeal, 625 North Murat Street.
So the assessor's office feels that the tax commission staff appraisal is a representative market value. It looks like if I'm not mistaken, 625 North Murat, you were requesting 260,000?
Well, I didn't remember that, but I think we went up in the land, not the property.
Well, it's the overall value of the property that we're looking at. Because what I'm saying is, it's what the overall property's worth.
Yeah.
While I agree, I think with you, we want the land to be correct. The reality is if you subtract 20,000 from the land, it's just gonna make 20,000 more on the improvements. So, not that we don't want the land to be accurate, don't get me wrong. So,
Yeah. It looks like 625 North Murat Street, we're all pretty much in similar valuations. Our valuation was 297, the Board of Review's valuation, and then the tax commission's valuation 285, and the taxpayer's request of 260 is all kind of
yeah.
in the same ballpark. We have no objection to the tax commission staff appraisal valuation
Okay.
for the property.
When was the last reassessment by the assessor of these properties?
I would have to think it was 2020 because we didn't do it for 2021. But
Okay.
yeah.
So this is not the uptown area, this is,
No, sir.
okay, I got you, okay.
Mr. Johnson, on your appeal form, you requested a value of $269,000. Is that the value you're requesting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from Mr. Harrington.
I did an appraisal on 625 North Murat, a total value of 285, which come to income produced a value of 288, sales comparison 285. We had a disputed land value of 91.2 and improvements of 193.8 for the total of 285.
All right, any questions?
So it was reassessed, like when appraised the whole thing?
That should have been as of 1/1/19. Sales in your area using,
The valuation date is January 1st of 2019, so it's,
use sales from that time.
What the
frame
property
to-
would be
to
worth
get a
on that
value your
date.
house.
Well, not too many houses, well, at least in my house, I'm just talking about like right now.
Yeah.
So it's not a fluent thing, and I'm not trying to complain.
Yeah.
My kids live in TV now. I'm not next door.
So they don't make you any money, huh?
But I'm trying to. So, you know, they left my parents. So they'll benefit all.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Harrington.
Do you want to hear his other house too now? or you
No,
wanna-
no,
okay.
we're gonna take that separately. I don't know that the feelings of all the commissioners. I know equity has been an issue in the assessor's office in New Orleans. The value requested by Mr. Johnson on this one is $269,000, which is within 10% of what the assessor's office has, and certainly within 10% of our staff appraisal. Rather than dragging this out, would the commissioners be agreeable to placing the value at the taxpayer's request of $269,000?
I'd like that motion.
Yes.
Okay. Instead of dragging this out and asking for, you know, more documentation, I think this might be the best solution. Mr. Vercher?
In reference to docket number 19-22172-118, I would move that we, in light of the information given today, we set the land value.
We can use the land value the assessor's office has if you'd like.
Just a second. Set the land value at $91,200, improvement value at $177,800, for a total value of $269,000.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagstaff?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardi?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Now, we're going to go ahead and let's hear your other appeal. Let me call that one up first, okay? You're welcome to stand there, I just have to go through the formality of calling it up. All right. All right, the appeal of Joseph Johnson versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-117. Mr. Johnson, against taxpayer appeals, so please go ahead and tell us about the
Okay,
property.
so this house is where my father allowed my wife and I to live after we got married. And we put our money in it to make it nice for us, but I want to let you know that that was in 1979. So, I mean, it's nothing been done to it since then. I mean, it's decent, it's clean, but it's not a modern house. And I want to say too that that's a middle class on the lower end, because all those people work like secretary jobs or the people that live in that neighborhood. It's not rich people. And so if you would go in the house to assess, well, even on the outside, it looks the same as it did in 1979. But if you go inside, you will see a 1980 style, maybe Golden Girls type of house, you know, with the same colors. And so like parquet block will be put, but that nobody wants that anymore, you know. But I contend that if I was trying to rent it and rent it for a lot, I could understand, you know. But when we lived there, we paid my dad $250 the whole time. But we kept it clean. We took care of his property. You shouldn't be penalized for something that, you know, you didn't buy, but you appreciate what your parents worked for to pass it on to you. So I've paid it. It's difficult. I'm retired, and I'm taking care of my daughter and granddaughter right now. So, I mean, if you do what you got to do, I would appreciate some consideration in that.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Alvarez, go ahead.
I would just like to respectfully disagree. I would love parquet flooring. I think it's really awesome. But, sorry, it was the ill
all
attempt
right.
at humor. Looks like the Board of Review upheld our evaluation, and the tax commission staff appraisal is right there with the Board of Review's valuation. And I think that's a good indicative value of market. Oh, I'm sorry. So we initially had $345,000 on your property, and the tax commission's appraisal came in at $340,000.
And so you're asking us to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the staff appraisal's valuation is accurate, and we ask you to value the property as staff's recommendation.
okay.
I guess I forgot to ask the taxpayer, is there an equity argument on this property as well?
What does that mean?
Well, is your neighbor or down the street, are they assessed much lower?
Look at right next door, so yes. I was telling you
Okay,
about
that's right.
the fourplex.
That's right, I forget it's
And,
625.
There are a lot of singles, they have like houses built in 1890.
I forgot they're next door. Got it. Okay.
And I can send you that. I mean, I have it all in one document that I sent it to them, but I gave them paper documents, but I also sent it to you. So it's all in one long document. Pictures, the actual snapshots of the street for the assessment. You know, you go on the assessor's office website and look at everybody.
Now, this property is probably about 556 square feet larger, correct?
We needed an extra bedroom, so we added a bedroom and started everything.
All right, Mr. Harrington, you want to tell us about your appraisal?
The appraisal of 62729 North Murat produced a value, the sales comparison approach of 340,000 and 352.5 utilizing the income. I call it 340. I utilize sales comparison.
Any questions?
I know my dad paid for it, it's $46.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harrington. I know when I was assessor in Jefferson Parish, I had a gentleman come see me. I think the value of his double in the city of Gretna was like at $40,000. This is years ago, many years ago. And he kept telling me how he only paid $800 for it. So,
Well,
I-
I mean, that's unbelievable.
yeah,
But
I know.
I know houses are going like crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, you don't want the value today to be what it was when you bought it. You want it to be more, you know, so.
It's still, if that's what you're saying, I can sell it. Is that what y'all?
Yeah, that would be the market value of 2119, January 1st, 2019.
If it is, I think it is.
All right. No,
As I said, nothing to sell.
let's avoid the sidebar. All right, do the commissioners have questions? Anybody want to espouse on what we ought to do?
I guess what I'm trying to do is maybe extrapolate the improvement value for the additional square footage.
Have you come up with a number?
So it might put the improvement value at about 235,000.
That's very close to what I came up with. I'm ready to make a motion.
Yeah.
Would you like me to?
Okay, sure, go ahead.
I would like to move in the matter of 19221721117, that the 2020 fair market value for the land be set at $91,200, the improvements be set at $235,397 for a total of $326,597.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardi?
Yes. All right, Mr. Johnson, thank you very much. B?
Yeah.
Mr. Karcher?
Anybody who's going to testify, please. Raise your right hand.
I do, Nicole Karcher.
I do, Christian Kalshech.
Okay. Do I just start talking, or? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right, the next item on the agenda we'll take up is the appeal of Christian Karcher versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-020. And this is 115 Sherwood Forest Drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, please go ahead and tell us about your property.
Okay, basically,
And try to talk into the microphone as much as you can, yeah.
Okay,
You
I'm
can
so-
raise it at the end, so, yeah, you can do that.
sorry about that. I am going off based upon the original assessment by Orleans Parish. They had my improvements at 602,200. I divided that by the square footage of my home to arrive upon a price per square foot, which was $124 per square foot. However, when they came back to measure the actual measurement of my home, it came in at 3,024 square foot,
How much?
3,024 square feet. Because we had a whole bunch of, it was just a garage underneath, it wasn't living space. Now, I applied that 124 per square foot to the new measurement of 3,024, coming up with 374,976 in improvements. Keeping the original land value of 88,000 would come up with a total of 462,976. Originally, I had proposed, I had sent in my, when I sent in my argument originally, it was based upon a square footage that I was counting the back porch. So when my original appeal, if y'all see that, it was for a 557, but that was based upon the fact that I had included the back porch. When the assessor came out, he told me that that is not included in the square footage of the home. So the new value that I would like to argue for is based upon the same price per square foot, having 462,976. If we did it, if you
All
take.
right, let me stop you real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Give me the original square footage that was in there was 3,794 square feet?
It was 4,840 square feet in the original Orleans Parish assessment,
Say it again, 4,840.
840.
And how much are you saying it is now?
It was,
It's 3,024. They were counting, the measurements of the building itself were incorrect, but also only half of the lower floor is living space. The other whole half of the building is nothing but a garage.
Who gave you that square footage? Who measured that?
The 3,024?
Yeah, who gave you that?
That's the assessor that came out to come and.
Orleans
try-
Parish Assessor or LTC staff?
It was Orleans.
Okay,
Orleans, okay, I'm sorry.
all right.
all right.
So, and then,
Okay, now, just a moment.
that's it.
All right, so, and then you said the original value was based on the original square footage?
Yeah, the original improvements was, that they listed was 602,200. I divided that by the 4840, arriving at 124 per square foot, which I'm not arguing the 124 per square
I
foot.
understand. And then you took the 124 square foot
And applied it
and
by
applied
the
it to
new
the
measurement.
3,024 square feet.
Yes, sir. Coming up with 374,976 of improvements.
374
976.
for improvements.
Yes, sir.
And then the land,
Was 88,000. For a total of 462,976.
462,976?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I apologize for repeating. I just want
No,
to make sure I get it
no,
correct, that's all.
of course. And this, I think that, I mean, we bought the house for $311 5 years ago. We've done nothing to it. It's got a 30-year-old roof. It's, maybe some paint, a couple new appliances, but it's not that anything has drastically changed. So.
And you paid $311 for it 5 years ago, you said?
Was it? I don't know the exact. Okay, yes, 311 definitely was the price, and he's confirming that it was 5 years ago. And now, I mean, could I sell it for 462? I think perhaps, but I don't think that it's the crazy prices that it went up to. I believe that a lot of the comps that were used, they're listing other streets. Mine is a narrow street filled with doubles. And on the street next door to it, Allard is a grand street with huge mansions. City Park Avenue is a grand street. Those are significantly different in prices from what my street goes for. And I submitted comps in my immediate neighborhood. I submitted 9 separate comps on my original. I'm not sure that you guys have it on my original thing to the board, but I mean, I even have price per square footage of all of my neighboring homes, on the block.
Is that where you got the 124?
I got the 124 from their original
Their
original square footage.
Okay.
On my comps, when I did the comps of the neighborhood, now, I just picked them from different streets in my neighborhood, I came up with anything from 113 per square foot up to 127 per square foot on my comps in the immediate neighborhood of
All right,
my street.
so your number's good.
Yeah, my actual street ranges, some of them that have been redone are a bit higher, but, I mean, it's not out of the range of what my street is.
Sounds good.
So, I don't know if there's any other.
We just need to make sure that we have the square footage right.
Yep.
And that's, I think your number that you're using is
Our staff appraiser may be able to. square
right,
that up
right.
for
We
us.
just need to square that up.
Yeah, this was I don't know if it has like the parcel, Orleans Parish Assessor's Office makes efforts to produce the most accurate information possible. So this is from their thing, and this is a sketch of the property, and they have the width of the house at 26, the area of the house 26 by 58 by, this is area of house with, I don't know, this is a total, 3024 on their sketch.
Okay.
All right. That sounds fine. Why don't you have a seat, and let's hear from the assessor's office.
Yes, sir.
I mean, unless you have anything else to say at this point.
Not unless there's any further questions.
And
Okay.
the
or,
porch that you're talking about, is it closed in or is it an open porch? Is it part of your living space?
The part that they did not include,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's got, I mean, it's a porch, but it does have an enclosure on it.
Is it like a screen porch, or?
It's got glass on it, but
Is
it's
it
not.
air conditioned?
No, it's not air conditioned.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. Why don't y'all have a seat? We have two chairs here. Ma'am, why don't you take one of these two chairs here? Yeah, like one in front and one in back. Yeah. All right. Mr. Alvarez, do you have information about the corrected square footage from your office?
I have I don't have the actual square footage in front of me. If it's the 3024, you said, is that its official letter from our office?
This is from Orleans Parish. It is the.
Oh, so it's not actually 3024. We're not. This is not a calculation from our office saying it's 3,024 square feet. All it is just a sketch with the numbers on it. It doesn't tell you whether or not there's anything below it or above it, or what the difference. It doesn't tell you what these things, what this is, what this is. This is just
That's two porches.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that this is your own calculation and not something from our office that says 3024. I had looked into the matter. The 4,840 square feet is an erroneous square footage, in my opinion. I do not believe I'm not sure the 3024 is correct. It's a calculation that the taxpayer did from our website, not something directly from our office stating what the square footage is. I'd have to look into it and see. As I explained to the taxpayer outside, the $124 a square foot for the 4,840 square feet wouldn't necessarily apply to the 3,024 square feet due to the economy of scale. As your property gets larger, the price per square foot gets lower. If it was a 100 square foot difference, 200, 500, 800 square foot difference, that may be a situation where the $124 a square foot would apply. Being that it's over, she's claiming a 2,800 square foot difference, the $124 a square foot would not necessarily be correct for a property that small. It may be correct for a property of 4,800 square feet, but not 3,000 square feet. There's a big difference in price per square foot between 5,000 and 3,000 square feet. Just a act of transparency, I talked to the taxpayer outside. I offered to settle with her for initial request of the 557,055, which I thought was reasonable considering that it was her request and it's less than the tax commission staff appraiser's valuation. Now, I will look while Mr. Harrington presents his presents his appraisal to the commission. I'll look and see what we have on our system for our website. Should be able to get the square footage. If it is indeed 3024, then we should proceed as if it's 3024. I just don't know for sure, and I hate to commit to a square footage right at this moment. Let me research that and real quick and see what I can find out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we did sales and income on this property. Sales produced a value of 570, income of 593. The square footage, there were issues with it, and this is when the pandemic started where we weren't able to go out and stuff. There is a property sketch. I think it was turned into the board of review, forwarded to me, where I got 3794 square foot. I see on here, it's saying 10 by 28 was an upper back porch, but you're saying that's not heated and cooled?
That's not heated.
So that could be subtracted off of there, and I'm assuming the other two measurements would be correct.
So that would just be subtracting 280 feet.
280 feet off of 3794. And that would consider everything else heated and cooled.
So what would that new value be based on that?
Sir?
What would the new value be based on that?
I don't have my calculator.
So that'd be
I don't know, I'll do it.
3,514 square feet.
How many square feet does, if you would need to
Well, it'd be
subtract from that?
435,000, 435, 736.
How much would you be subtracting from the,
124.
At 124.
how much would you be subtracting from the 3794?
280.
280?
280 would be the porch that's on here, the 10-foot by 28-foot porch, 280 square foot.
Which leaves a net amount of, someone did that?
3514. 3514.
Okay, that's what I got.
So if it pleases the commission, I just checked our website. Our
Yeah.
website has a square footage of 3790, and I think the original 3024 square foot is not taking into consideration the partial living area downstairs. It's just showing that one section. The 4840, our initial square footage is erroneous, and I think that the square footage that we have now is more accurate of what's there. Because as you stated, there's.
The 3024 is what they sent us, and that does not include that downstairs?
No, nobody sent you the 3024. This is from our website. It's just a screenshot of our website, and that's the same thing I'm looking at here. But if you look higher, our square footage is 3790 square feet. That's the total building area. That includes your living area on the bottom floor plus your first floor.
Ms. Alvarez, take a look at his sketch and see the square footage and see if you agree with backing out to 280 square feet.
Ma'am, you're saying they sent that to you. Is that attached to a letter that they mailed?
Which one?
Well, how did you get that? How did you get that?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
look, that's fine.
Well, if you bought the house 5 years ago, do you
Yeah.
remember what they told you the heated square footage of the house was?
If it pleases the commission, if the porch is not heated or cooled, it should definitely be backed out of the total square footage.
Okay, that's great.
So
Thank you.
3514 would be the revised assessed square footage.
Yes, sir, if that's
All right.
what it works out to be.
And
And-
times 124. So 435, 736, plus the land value.
Which is going to be less than what the taxpayer originally requested.
Yeah, I requested it based upon the square footage of the back porch being included in the
So it gets your total at 523,736. Would that be acceptable? 523,736.
I mean.
It's the 88 plus
it
that
would take
square.
a wild card to be able to sell it for that, but.
Yeah, I
that's
understand.
fine.
But you see where we're coming from. We're getting
Yeah.
the square footage correct at the 124 value that you seem comfortable with.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, plus the value.
That's what they're going for in my immediate area, so I can't argue that.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, if you have, still have concerns about it, because we can only operate off of the evidence we have.
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't run somebody next door and quick and measure it and
Right,
come
and
back.
I-
We can't do that. So if you still have
Closer
concerns, if you
measurements
still have
than that.
concerns about the square footage, if you can get a professional, you know, to come in and measure it, possibly even do an appraisal if you care to go that far,
Okay.
you know, and, you know, you could submit that to the assessor's office, and if you're not happy, you can go to the board of review and then come to us with the appraisal even. But if you still feel like it's off, then, you know, you can do that for 2021. This is only good for 2020.
Okay.
I would, you know, I don't want to give legal advice, but do verify your assessment for 2021. If you don't like it, do the appeal process, because if you don't do the appeal process,
Right.
if it's, you know,
Because I think
you're at
they-
the mercy of the assessor's office at that
I
point.
think they opened up that roll yesterday, so
Yesterday.
you should be able to go online and see where you're at
So
for
you
2021.
need to see, if you don't like the number you see, then you need to start the appeal
So
process
it won't be
again.
whatever you guys decide.
It'll be for
It'll whatever
2020.
comes.
For 2020, it'll be that number. And so what I'm saying is, I don't want to tell you, go home and go to sleep on it. If the number's not what you want, or what you think it ought to be, you have to go through the appeal process again. And then if the assessor's office changes it to what you're satisfied with, you can always withdraw the appeal. Yeah. All right. All right.
You make a motion?
We've had about every number under the sun come up this morning. Even in our most complicated appeals involving millions of dollars, we haven't had this many different numbers. So if somebody knows what these numbers
I think
are.
Mike,
I'll
Mike
make a
got-
motion with
All right.
respect to docket number 19-22172-020. I'll set the 2020 valuation. I'll set the land at 88,000. The improvements at $435,736 for a total of $523,736. $523,736.
I'd like to second it.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagglesback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardy?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I got one more.
Yes. All right. Why don't you all have one more appeal this morning? Next item is the appeal of Christian Karcher versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-022. Again, Ms. Karcher, this is a taxpayer appeal, so we'll ask you to go first.
Okay. Basically, on this one, it's the price per square foot that we were arguing. It originally came in at, they assessed it for $224 per square foot, which is higher than anything else in our neighborhood. I mean, there are some that are like right off of City Park that are in the higher range, but, I mean, and the comps that I submitted, I mean, we came up with an average that was like in the 1-teens, and they're saying that ours was at 224. Originally, now our house this is a single home. This is not a double, so, originally I had, assessed the property to be at or requested that the property be assessed at 127 per square foot. They came back at 206 per square foot. So, the only thing that I have that would be new information to this is, I guess, our insurance policy assessment, if that would help. And they came in at 182 per square foot. So I didn't have that information when when they said, but that's for, they said rebuilding and debris removal, that they assessed that our house would be 549,895. But I have no idea what debris removal costs, so I don't know I just got that number. So this is a bit harder because all I'm doing is I'm looking at the comps in my neighborhood, and they are well below the 206 per square foot that they came back with.
Do you have an average or a range?
I got my immediate, these are my immediate neighbors. I'd have to calculate the average. I didn't do that on that. My original proposal of the comps that I picked, and these are comps that I picked from various areas in the neighborhood, but I mean, some of them, you're gonna have to take out like there was on 915 North Carrollton, it was at 94 square foot, and on 131 Sherwood Forest, it was 61 per square foot, but these are the outliers.
Yeah.
With that, I came up with an average of per square foot of 112, but this also included ones that were, in the 120s on my street too. I think the 112 is low. I
So
think,
115 and 122, obviously they're just down the street from one another, right?
yes,
And we used 124 on the last property.
yes. Now, this one is a little bit nicer property, and so that's why I said, like 127, 128 per square foot is what I was thinking my house would be worth, because the other one is not as nice of a property.
You And we agree with the 3,024 square footage, there's no issue there.
Wait, hang on, let's make sure. What, I'm sorry, what did you say the square footage?
3024?
Yes, sir, that is the square footage.
Getting back, you said the assessor's office originally had the property valued at, you said $224 a square foot?
Yes, which was outrageously
Okay.
high.
Now, is that based upon the improvement value or
That
the
is
total
based
value?
upon, that was the improvement value divided by the square footage of the house.
How long did you buy this house?
Ooh, hurricane.
Before the hurricane, okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the improvement value that the assessor originally had was $241 a square foot
It's,
originally?
originally, they had improvements at 730,000. And that divided by the square footage is how I came up with my price
Yeah,
per square foot.
$241 and
But-
actually $241.40 if you
Now,
want
the
to get.
adjusted one, the 623,000 is what they came back at, divided by the 324 leaves it at 206 per square foot, what I believe is, I still believe that's high.
Okay, and tell me again now, they came back and offered you how much a square?
That's actually the board review number.
Yeah,
it?
that's a board of review number.
Oh, okay, so that'd be what number? The 623,000 for improvements? Or the
620
total value?
It was the total, 623,000 is the improvements.
Okay, so Board of Review,
Yeah, board of review said 623 for improvements,
divided by the.
3024 led me to 206 per square foot.
Okay, and plus the land. It
Yes,
comes up
plus
with
the
that
land.
730. Now, what are you proposing?
I originally proposed 127 per square foot.
And that is for improvements,
Yes,
for improvements,
leaving the land value the same.
plus the land value.
Yes, plus the land value. I mean, I can tell you my next door neighbor is at 127 per square foot. His house is basically the same as my house. Where the Myers down the street is at 120 a square foot. The lady that, a lady with a cottage, she's at 182 per square foot, but she was a high of that neighborhood.
She's the high of the neighborhood, so you would take her place?
She,
I mean, is this what I'm hearing? That she was the high at 182?
she's got a mansion. I mean, that thing is a
But
beautiful.
yours would
Yeah, yeah,
be
yours would
more,
exceed her.
You would ex-
your square foot,
Well-
per square foot would exceed hers? Is that what you're saying?
At 224 it would, if that's an accurate statement, or 206.
Well, right now, she's assessed at 241.
Yeah.
Well, 206 in Board of Review, right.
Right, I was proposing it to be down to 127. However, to be completely honest, the insurance assessment, I don't know what debris removal cost, okay? So if I take the replacement cost of my home and the debris removal, and I took the total number, they gave me it to be at 549,895. So I don't know what debris removal cost. I have,
You'll never know until you make a claim, you know.
so I have no idea. So 30,000, 20,000, I have no idea what to take off to come up with a new price per square foot of my house. So just to be, I mean, when I came in at 127, I didn't realize that my insurance company had assessed my house for higher than that would have been. But I don't know,
Typically, your coverage is a little higher. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know the exact thing, but I just know that 206 is crazy high.
Yeah.
So I had proposed 127 per square foot.
Well, you've given some stats around your neighborhood that support that, so, I mean, I don't see that's unreasonable. Unless I'm missing something.
The one we just did was a multifamily?
Yes, and this is a single.
So they would actually.
You have to go to the microphone, Mr. Alvarez.
May I see your
Yeah,
insurance?
you probably need to.
So if it please the commission, the property that we just did at $124 a square foot is a multifamily property. Single-family property wouldn't go for the same rate a multifamily property would go for. The taxpayers' owned property is insured for $549,895. And if you were to be conservative and say $50,000 for debris removal, then the property itself is insured for $500,000, plus the land rate of $107,000. That still puts it over $600,000. That would be more than $127 a square foot. And that's not the assessor's office. That's the insurance company that the taxpayer hired themselves, or the insurance that they're getting for their own home. The $127 a square foot may be fine and great for a multifamily property, but I don't think that would be reasonable for a single-family property, especially since a third party has valued the property well above that.
Well, she gave a range of properties in that neighborhood. Are they all multifamily properties?
I have no idea. I don't know what she submitted. I didn't receive any documentation, so
Yeah.
I'm just going off of what the taxpayer is saying. I'm not trying to question anything the taxpayer is saying. I'm just using my own expertise that multifamily and single-family self are different. And if the property owner's third-party appraisal of their property for insurance purposes is putting it well over $500,000, that would put it over the $127 a square foot. That's the only thing I can add at this time.
Well, that would put it, if it's at $500,000, it'd put it at $165 a square foot, which makes her the outlier based on what she told us.
I'm
price
just
per square
going
foot.
off of what a third-party insurance company
I
is
know, but we
doing.
typically don't, we typically
I
don't
understand.
take into
I'm-
consideration insurance.
I just wanted to put that information out there, that 127 is for a multifamily, not necessarily single. And someone other than the tax commission who has valued the property close, or the appraisal from the tax commission is very close to the border of use value, and someone from the assessor's office who has the,
Is her next door neighbor, property a double?
I don't know.
Or is it a single family?
Well,
residence?
Let's
ask-
ask,
The one right next door to me is a double.
Is a
The
double.
one that is the same size and property as mine is a double.
So I'm not really sure. I just wanted to put that out there from the assessor's office, that's all.
The ones that are singles in the neighborhood, I can tell you, I need to see their, the Myers house is at 120 square foot. The Coles house is at 141 a square foot.
What size are those properties? Do you know the square footage?
The courthouse is about 3,600 square feet.
So the $120 a square foot, what's the size of that house?
That's a significantly larger house on a larger piece of property.
But what is the
But
square
What's the square
footage?
footage?
Like what, how much per square foot? You just said 120 and 141.
Yeah, she was 120 per square foot. This is
Okay.
her assessment. Her building value came at, where do you see the, where do you see the square footage on
Do
here?
you have the address?
Oh, I'm sorry, it is 110 Sherwood Forest Drive.
Land area and building area, 4376.
Actually, does she have a downstairs apartment? She might have a downstairs apartment.
And the 141, what address and how many total square feet?
At the what price you're saying?
You said
The
100,
141, the Coles is 3,600 square feet, and that's at 141.
and what address is that?
That's, it was listed as 116 Sherwood Forest.
is that comparable to your house as far as condition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
112 Sherwood Forest has a substantially larger lot, larger house, and is also subject to an age freeze.
She said 110 and 116.
110 and 116.
Oh, 110 and 116, okay, I'm sorry, I thought I heard 112.
I'm kind of focused on 116. It seems comparable in square
Well,
footage.
116 is, looks like
It's now,
it's a double.
it's a single.
You have
they
it listed
converted
as
it.
116, 114.
That's what it used to be, but.
So it's conversion.
Who else is, the Allison and Jeff?
Was yours a converted double?
Yes, mine was a converted double.
Oh, okay.
Allison and Jeff, where are they?
And ma'am, what is your requested value? Because I think we've skipped over that a little bit. I've heard two different numbers you were requesting.
Right.
Initially, I think you were requesting 491,000 total value.
But then I wasn't sure, I don't know how much is the debris removal, and I don't want to be dishonest when they come in and they said that it was the 550. So my requested value was based upon what I was going off of comps in the neighborhood. However, I did have that new piece of information that I got that was the insurance value of the home. So what did you, my first one was
Yeah,
490?
491,
And then
and
so.
then you said 549,000.
But that's with, so if you take 50,000 for the debris removal, we're between 490 and 500 is what I'm requesting.
Russell, would you have a problem with 141 a square foot? I mean, it's even close, it's like, it's getting closer to the insured value,
Yeah. that's
which
what
is
I'm-
usually a little higher and skewed.
I mean, I think that the
Basically, at 141 a foot, it puts the total value at 534,284.
I mean, I have no issue with the insured value. Normally, properties are not going to, insurance companies are not going to allow you to underinsure your property. Just as a FYI though, the 116 is a double that has an H freeze on it. But yeah,
Well, we're gonna be higher than that anyway, it looks like.
yeah.
116 is the closest.
But it's been transformed.
It's been transformed into a single.
I know, but it's.
But it has an
listed
age,
in that,
it has an
okay.
age freeze
It
on
has an
it.
H freeze on it and it's
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't very exact on this one. This one, I'm just knew that it was way
You've done
over
okay.
my neighborhood.
I'm just trying to find that comfort level with the square footage, I mean, the price per square foot. Yeah,
I mean, no, calculate.
I mean, based on, I've heard a lot of different prices per square foot, but 141 is not,
And we still have to hear from our appraiser, so.
Yeah.
Right.
problem is we've got an equity issue, I think.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got,
that is,
yeah,
that's,
That's the problem.
it's,
He's gonna give us market value, but.
we got an equity issue or we got an appraiser here that might be high, who knows? We'll find out in a minute.
I would be happy with the one, I mean, I'd be fine with the 141 because then that would be. That would be 534 is the total value of the house.
534,284, correct.
Yeah, I think that that is a value that I could sell my house for.
You're talking 534 for the land and the building?
Correct,
Yeah.
total.
Okay,
You sure, Mike?
Yeah.
That's,
Well, we still, formally, we need, formally, we still need to hear from the assessor's office, so.
I still ask for a total value
You gotta-
for what it's actually insured for.
Microphone.
I'm sorry, I was just speaking out loud.
Oh, okay.
It's-
Just
It's
speak out
not,
of
it's
turn,
not
no big deal.
important.
Okay. All right, Ms. Clark, so let's go ahead and hear from the assessor's office.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about
Sure.
being less organized.
No, that's all right. Okay, Mr. Alvarez, you want to come up to the microphone and give us your thoughts?
I do think that I don't believe that there's an equity issue because most of the comparables that the taxpayer provided were either doubles and the property is a single or is under an age freeze. Our office does not agree that the $540,000 for the total value would be accurate considering that the property is insured for $540,000, just the building. Our initial valuation, while I'll agree, was overvalued at $837,000. The Board of Review and the Tax Commission's own staff appraisal will come in over at $730,000, which I think is more indicative of market values considering, especially since the property is insured for $549,000 plus land, putting the total value, land and building, at $530,000 less than what the building is insured for, I think is not a indicator of fair market value. That's the only comments that our office has.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harrington, you're at that.
Okay, I did a sales comparison approach on this property, produced a value of $730,000, $107,900 land, $622,100 improvements. And if you look at the comparables, basically what we try to do is bracket the size of the property. So we got 3,400 square foot, and we got sales just on either side of it. Represents as similar properties as you can, then we adjust for indifferences, and as close as we can. So within a 6-block area, these comps were produced. And it gives you a market value as of January 1st, 2019.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. All right, do we have somebody want to move forward
Yeah,
on this?
I make a motion, with respect to the evidence presented, and the testimony considering the comps and the price per square foot. I'm still not convinced we don't have an equity issue. Therefore, my motion would be to set the land value at $107,900, set the improvement value at $426,384, for a total valuation of $534,284.
Second?
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagaspat,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardi.
Yes. All right, Mr. Minscarcher, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Are we ready to hear the Douglas appeal?
Huh?
Gee, do we have a
They've been assessing higher.
copy for the assessor's office?
Testify, please raise your right hand. Solemnly swear that testimony you're about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you. I do.
All right, the next item on the docket is the appeal of Rhodesia Douglas versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review. Docket number 19-22172-109. It's a taxpayer appeal, so Ms. Douglas, you or,
Hi, my name is Gregory Douglas. I'm
Okay.
Rhodesia's husband.
all right.
Um,
I didn't want to make an assumption.
No, no, no.
I
No,
made an
that's fine.
assumption one time that a couple was married and I got booed off the stage.
No,
so
no, that's fine.
I don't want to
That's
make that
fine.
assumption.
That's fine. First, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak.
Sure.
And I just want to preface by saying that I have been talking with a person, Russell, from the assessor's office.
Yes.
And he did offer a $200,000 total value. And if you look at my documentation of, well, let me back up a little bit. The $200,000.
Have you all agreed on that value?
We didn't agree quite yet, but we're close. We're very, very close.
How close are you?
Well, I was hoping to be, if I looked at the comparables, and I'll explain what it
Okay,
would bring me to
sure.
the point. And then I was told a little information today that they don't value doubles and single-family properties the same. So in my list of comparables, I have 12 comparables in our neighborhood, and they all range between $50 a square foot up to $79 a square foot, okay? Now, if you take out the multifamily properties, there are two single-family properties in my list of 12. One of which is $73 a square foot, and the other one is $70 a square foot. I could give you the addresses of those if you look at them. On the first page,
Well, you said your comps range from $50 to $79?
that's all of them.
All of them, and
But
you
that
have-
includes some doubles, and some of them are singles.
So these doubles, and your property is this property is a single
That's
family?
correct, that's correct.
They're within that $50 to $79 range also, the doubles?
The doubles, yes, are in the $50
Okay.
to $79 range,
Okay.
and the singles in this list.
Yeah, the singles
also
are
in there.
definitely in that range, and the doubles are too.
Even though I don't see why the doubles are rated a little
Well,
differently.
you would value the doubles separately from
generally
single
lower?
family.
Are they generally lower, doubles?
I don't know about generally, but I mean, it all depends. I mean, it really all depends.
Depends on what you
But
compare
look,
it
if your
what
range
to.
is 50 to 79, and you got all of these single families in there,
Right.
and you got one or two properties that maybe shouldn't be in there, but they're still in that range, then that's basically
still
your range.
maintains
So
the
it doesn't
range.
matter.
And
In my
so-
mind, it doesn't matter.
I was hoping that, the other thing that when the assessor appraised the property and even the staff appraisal appraised the property,
Excuse me, one more, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. You say $50 to $79 a square foot. Is that for the total value of the property?
that's correct.
Total value, okay.
No, I'm sorry,
Oh, that's just the improvement value.
that is the improvement value.
Okay.
On the calculation, it's based on the square footage and improvement value.
Right, okay.
All right, and I also overheard it from my age freeze. I don't think any of these have an age freeze on them, so, you know. What I wanted to say is that what's not considered is that, and I've sent some pictures in, I have 4 pictures that show the cracks in the back of our house, and it infers the foundation issues that we're having. And, you know, we've had, like, over the last several years, they've built the hospital, you know, not too many blocks away. And then even more recently, they had the Hard Rock Hotel with the dynamiting and things like that. And we have felt all of those things that I think contributed to our foundation issues. It may not be the only reason, but I think that over time, since the flooding in Katrina, you know, all of those factors, I think, have contributed to our foundation issues.
So you have foundation problems at the house?
We do. We
Okay.
do have foundation problems, and that's what the photos on, do y'all have the photos?
We do.
Yes.
Okay, all right, yeah. The photos, they kind of show that the cracking is on our, I guess it's our northeast side of our property, which is the back of our
Have you had a
property.
professional take a look at the foundation?
To be honest, I have not had an appraisal on the,
Well, I don't
on
mean
the
an appraisal,
foundation,
but I mean
or
an
at least a
engineer.
quote or something, I haven't.
Okay, so how do you know that it's a foundation issue
'Cause it's-
versus heat cracking, which you can get with brick? In other words,
No, it's a big separation on our windows in the back. It's a huge separation. Secondly, if you put a marble on the floor in the back room,
okay,
it rolls down, you know,
Okay.
and it wasn't always
Yeah,
like
you-
that.
I'm not debating, I'm not,
He's got
I'm,
he's got a real shift.
no, I see that, I see it.
Yeah,
I
it's a
just,
big, I know you're not,
I'm
you're
just
just
asking,
asking about
yeah,
it,
I'm
though,
just
which is a
asking,
fair
right.
question. So I think that even though that the the assessor's office says 235 total value, which puts us at $95 a square foot, and the staff appraisal did 230,000, which puts the building improvements at $92 a square foot. All of my comparables are much smaller in square footage price on the improvements. And that's what I was really asking for, is to get us down in that range.
What do you think your range is? You said between 50 and 70. Where do you think your building falls with this compromised brick foundation?
I'm willing to accept a certain amount, but just,
Well, tell us what it is.
Are you 60? Are you 55?
I would like to be at 65,
65?
yes. And so that would put now, what he offered was 77. And
Well, the range of the comps are somewhere between 50 and 70 was the highest?
79,
79.
yes. Now, I don't know what a foundation repair would cost, but I know it would be at least over $40,000 to do a foundation
Right.
repair, you know?
We might have to change that brick out too.
You know, generally, when you do a foundation repair, you got more to repair than just the foundation. You
Right.
got exterior brick, windows, door frames, sheet rock,
Right.
et cetera.
So, and that's, yeah.
So that puts your total value at 65 at 176,955.
And I asked that in there, I said I wanted to be at 176, and he basically offered 200. So, and that's why I'm a little concerned, I don't want to be over that, but, you know,
Yeah, you definitely have some structural issues, so I think you're, you know,
I think your 176 is a fair
Think you're reasonable.
compromise.
oh, I know that, at least I overheard another one of the things, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask this. This is, the one that we're dealing with is 2020.
That's correct.
If they change the one for 2020, what are my odds of making sure that they align that with the 2021?
If you're not happy with what the assessor
We have to
has,
start all over?
start all over.
Okay. I would like, would you, even if you agreed at that number that they're offering, would you support us doing the 2021 for that? Or moving forward,
I would like to, if you agree to 200, we could put that going forward.
but not at the 176?
Well, I would address the commission with my,
Yeah, we gotta
No,
listen to.
I want to be fair too, I'm just trying to,
well, all your comparables are not comparables. They have age freezers, they have doubles, they're substantially larger. Your house is 1,900 square feet, your comparables are 4,300 square feet, 4,200 square feet.
not all of them, no, not all of them.
I mean,
You may be choosing
All right,
one of
whoa,
them,
whoa, whoa,
but
okay.
if you pulled
Let's-
out, even if you
Let-
pulled
hold-
out,
Okay, let's,
I'm sorry.
that's all right, that's all right.
to address that one thing, I would like to say, even if we pulled out the doubles and looked at the singles, I have a few singles that are at $70 and at 73. And I still feel like, first of all, a double's probably more valuable because you can get it and rent it out, you know what I'm saying, than a single. So, I mean, I would argue, as far as the condition of these properties, they're all around the same. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
You might consider, if you do have to come back for 2021,
Yes.
getting an estimate on that foundation repair, because
Okay.
that would be
Or,
helpful.
or even more so, if you're gonna go to that trouble, getting an appraisal on the property, but
With
making
somebody
sure
go
that the
inside.
appraiser, you point out to the appraiser
yes.
the condition of the property, and if you have an estimate of what the foundation repair would be,
Yes.
to give that to that fee appraiser
I
that you
appreciate
hire
it.
to do
I
a
appreciate
value,
it.
in case you need it.
Okay.
But you do need to, if you are dissatisfied with whatever value the assessor's office has right now, then you're going to need to go
It's
through
an
the
open
appeal.
roll right now, I
Right,
understand.
right,
Yes.
okay?
Okay.
All
I
right,
really
let's hear from the
appreciate it.
assessor's
Sure.
office.
Thank you.
so the assessor's office valued the property $235,000. The board review upheld our value. Tax commission's own appraisal is at $230,000. In the interest of trying to expedite the appeal, we offered $200,000, which I think is perfectly in range, especially in his comp range, when you consider his comps are all not comparables. Doubles sell for less per square foot than a single. Properties that are 4,000 square feet sell for less per square foot than a property that's at 2,000 square feet. I think that it was
Are you
a-
making any concession for the foundation issue?
Yes, I'd offered the $30,000 off of our initial valuation for condition issues. I believe condition issue was taken into consideration during the appraisal. I mean, I think it's fair and reasonable.
He said you were getting close, so it kind of left the door open maybe for some more negotiation. Is that an accurate statement?
Well,
Which, in my mind, would mean you were fixing to come down a little more.
not necessarily. I was fixing to tell him that if we can agree to a settlement, then we could hold that value forward and not have to repeat
And
the
I
appeal
think
process.
that's exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But
Now, that also told him it doesn't preclude him from accepting the 200,000 and getting additional documentation and bringing it in and trying to get something lower. But the information I have in front of me, I think 200,000 for 2020 is reasonable. If it comes to light that it needs to be lower for 21 based on an appraisal or an estimate from a licensed contractor, then so be it. Then it would go lower. But I'm not comfortable from our office going anything lower than that, especially since 3 out of the 4 values are right there within $5,000 of each other.
Yeah, Mr. Harrington, The only thing I'll say, and Ms. Harrington, please correct me, but you were not able to do an on-site inspection of the property?
That's correct.
Yeah,
We did not
okay.
do an
And the
inspection.
reason for that is because of the virus, you know.
The sales comparison produced a value of 230,000, with 53,000 being land and 177 improvement. Now, we couldn't find any sales. It has a condition issue because of this foundation stuff. We had no bid to repair what we would consider a cost to cure. So 10% on the difference between, average was our baseline. Well, we knew they had something wrong with it, so we adjusted each comparable by 10%. Now, could it be that the cost to cure would be 20%? Well, it would bring the value down, but we had no way to know exactly what it is. I think if we'd have had maybe a bid to repair, it would have just been subtracted off of the total value of cost to cure, and then that way.
So you mentioned 20%, that's just coming off the top of your head? or
Well,
is that-
no, we doing between fair and average, we doing
Yeah.
10% of the sales price as an adjustment. And we're defaulting at average because we're not being able to see them or.
So you
I mean-
could have gone down another 20%?
Correct. It could be whatever we'd be comfortable with. And how extensive the damage is, like Mr. Virtue said, once they're gonna start, they're gonna
far-
have to be lifting, they're gonna tear up interior components. I think it's gonna be a pretty major deal if he has it done.
All right, any other questions? All right. Mr. Wagasback, does anybody have any other comments they want to make before, Mr. Harrington? Mr. Harrington, you can sit, I think. Okay, yeah, please come back to the microphone.
Thank you.
You don't have to talk too much now.
You're right. I do appreciate it. I guess they've acknowledged that they didn't be able to go on and see the foundation issues. And so that was my thing. I also just wanted to say that the comparables, yes, there are many of them are doubles, true. But I did pick out two of them. One of them is a significantly larger. I think it's three of them. But the others are very close. There's one that's like 2,100 square feet. The one that's right behind me, it is a single-family property. And that one is at 70, one quick second. Ms. Rose. Yeah, that one is 1, 2, 3. That's at $70 a square foot. And her square footage is 2,096. I'm at 1,907. So it is pretty close in same size. So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Do you have any comments?
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Mr. Wagasback, go ahead.
On docket number 19-22172-0109, based on the testimony given and taking in consideration the foundation and other issues with this property, my motion would be set the land at $53,000 and rounding some numbers around, set the improvements at $127,000 for the total valuation of $180,000.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes,
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardy?
Yes.
thank
All right,
you.
thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I'm sorry, is there anything else that we need to do, or is it just something?
No, we'll sign a formal decision
Uh-huh.
likely next week.
Okay,
You'll receive a copy of that.
all right.
And the assessor's office then would issue it, hopefully will issue the change order.
Okay.
That will send to us, and then we'll approve that change order. And it'll take
So
more.
it'll take a few weeks.
It'll take a couple of weeks, yeah.
Okay.
If you have any questions or concerns, just feel free to call us.
Okay, thank you very much. We
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Just give me a moment, folks. All right. All right. Mr. Loughlin, you're finally going to get your shot at bat. The next item on the agenda we'll hear is the appeal of Janice Manuel versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-005. Mr. Loughlin's here this morning, I believe, on behalf of the property owner. So we'll ask you to go ahead.
Good morning, Commission members. Arthur Laughlin on behalf of the taxpayer. We are prepared to accept the LTC appraisal value.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Ms. Loughlin? Okay. Mr. Alvarez?
Our office spoke with Mr. Laughlin outside, and we are in agreement with the tax commission staff appraisal.
So you're in agreement with the staff appraisal as well? Okay, thank you.
The staff appraisal sales comparison approach came out to $370,000, 73.3 land, 296.7 improvement. Income 388 and relied on sales comparison at 370.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Have a motion?
I'm ready to make a motion in the matter of docket number 19221720005. I would move that we set the 2020 fair market value at the LTC staff appraisal, land $73,300, improvements $296,700 for a total fair market value of $370,000.
Commissioner Burcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardy?
Yes. All right. Please follow along with me to make sure I don't miss something. Next item on the agenda is the appeal of Kenneth Evans versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review. Let me ask you, real quick, Mr. Hoffman, did you swear in Mr. Laughlin?
Yes,
You did?
he did.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. The appeal of Kenneth Evans versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, 19-22172-191.
What about Mark Johnson? Did we?
Yeah, you're skipping.
Who's that?
I don't think that's
C.
his.
C?
Skipping item
You're skipping
C.
Mr. Johnson.
Oh, C? Is Mr. Johnson here?
No, he's not going to be in attendance.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go to it later after.
Yeah, we
Laughlin.
can
I'll-
come
I'll
back
just
to it.
check
We'll come back to it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad you pointed that out. All right, this is the appeal of Kenneth Evans. No one is here on behalf of Mr. Evans this afternoon, so we'll go ahead and hear from the assessor's office.
The assessor's office has no comment on the appeal.
Okay?
An appraisal.
Mr. Harrington?
An appraisal was done on this property for a total of $220,000 sales comparison approach and $231 income. We relied on the sales comparison approach. It'd be $58,000 land and $162 improvement, for a total of $220.
All right.
Which is a little higher than the Board of Review.
Yeah.
Were you able to inspect that property, or was that a COVID?
A what?
Were you able to inspect that property?
Let me see. No, sir.
They mentioned, I guess this is a board review, they mentioned he presented documentation of contractor's estimate to fix and repairs.
It looks like they reduced the amount by that.
About 42,000 in repairs, right, yeah. Exactly by that amount.
Yes, and I took a 42,000 cost to cure off of each comparable.
Okay.
Oh, you did already?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in line then, Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion.
All right, Mr. Furcher, go ahead.
In reference to docket 19-22172-191, I would move that we affirm the Board of Review value, set land at $58,000, improvement value at $146,500 for a total of $204,500.
Second?
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardi?
Yes. Let's go ahead and hear the next Evans appeal and just get that out, and then we'll go back and hear the Johnson appeal. The next item is the appeal of Kenneth Evans versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-192. There's no one here on behalf of the taxpayer, so we'll go ahead and hear from the assessor's office.
The Assessor's Office has no comment on the hearing.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harrington?
Sales comparison produced a value of 225 on this property and an income value of 231. We settled with 225 with 58,000 land, 167 improvement, and this property also had a cost to cure estimate of 32,000, which was subtracted from each comparable sale used.
Any questions? Thank you. We have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to move on docket 19-22172-192 that, based on the information, we affirm the Parish Board of Review value, set land at $58,000, improvement $146,500 for a total value of $214,500.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardi?
Yes. All right, the next item on the appeal is the appeal of Mark E. Johnson versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 19-22172-030. All right, record note that there's no one present on behalf of the property owner and taxpayer, so we will hear the record from the assessor's office.
We have no comment.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harrington?
Staff appraisal came out to 400,000 sales comparison, 421 income. We called it 400, following this, utilizing the sales comparison approach with 63.4 land, 336 sick improvement.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'm prepared to make a motion on docket number 19-22172-030 that we accept the Board of Review 20 market value, land at 63,400, improvements at 329,000 for a total of 392,400.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
Chairman Shahardi?
Yes. All right, does that cover every appeal we had this morning?
That does.
It
That
does?
concludes.
Okay.
Item number 5,
It was withdrawn.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the last item, appeal of 906 Wilson LLC was withdrawn. The Tax Commission hereby accepts all pre-filed documents and oral testimony into the record as Taxpayer Exhibit 1 in Globo, Assessor Exhibit 1 in Globo, and Louisiana Tax Commission Staff Appraiser Exhibit 1 in Globo for each appeal hearing conducted today respectfully. So unless I've missed something or Anybody has a comment? I'll accept a motion to adjourn this morning's meeting.
Second?
Commissioner Vercher?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffers?
Yes.
And Chairman Shahardan?
Yes.